When we first went out there to meet with Joshua, we didn't think this was going to take 5 years. We knew the themes and the issues and the questions that we really wanted to address through the course of this film. We always knew what those were, and we always, we had an idea as to how we might do it, but it really was an evolutionary process. I mean, when we first met him, he was still in Ghana, at a refugee camp before he'd returned in the early start of the film to Liberia. We presented ourselves to him and what we were interested in doing. Sometimes people ask, well, how did you get him to agree and that sort of thing. I mean, honestly, as you can see from the film, Joshua's not exactly media averse. He's not exactly a shy individual. And every Sunday he is out there giving his testimony to Liberians and to people across West Africa. And he had spoken to media outlets before. Nothing on the, nothing with the length and depth of what we were attempting to do. But there were some snippets out there, print journalism as well as some news snippets. And I'm not, as much as we explained to him what we wanted to do, I'm not sure he even realized how long a process it would be, in fairness. Of course, we didn't either. And then due to certain circumstances, particularly the financial circumstances, it ended up becoming a very long journey. So the working relationship with this character ended up evolving over time. A lot of people ask us how we got such intimate scenes with him, where he's in hiding and, with his family and them opening up about stuff. That wasn't the kind of material we got on the first shoot. That was definitely 3-4 years into the process. And again, I think by that point, we had built a relationship of trust as much as you could with this figure, that he was in a weird sort of way, he was committed to getting his story out there. I mean, we weren't making a pro Joshua story by any means, but and he understood where we were coming from and what we were interested in. But I do think that he began to relax and just and as did others, just let us into their lives and understand what we were out for.
I think as far as the victims, we, approaching the victim, some of Joshua's victims for this story was a really difficult process and kind of a learning experience for us as well. There's one scene in the beginning of the film where Joshua is preaching at a rally, and he basically goes up to a woman who starts saying, you killed my brother, I saw it with my own eyes, and she's crying and she's very upset. And this was a spontaneous moment. We had been filming Joshua preaching, and this kind of arose while we were there with our cameras. And of course we asked for permission, is it okay that we're here? And she gave us her permission on the spot. But after that scenario, Eric and I talked, and we felt a little uncomfortable with it. How are we actually going to talk to Joshua's victims in a way that they feel comfortable and safe with us and with the cameras? So what we decided to do after that was to approach victims independently of Joshua on their own beforehand and let them know about our film and what we were doing, so that they could feel comfortable and really have the time to decide whether or not this is something that they wanted to participate in. So we contacted an NGO based in the Budaburam refugee camp in Ghana that had been working with the Truth and Reconciliation Commission to extract testimony from people who were victimized by the war, by perpetrators in the Liberian Civil War. And through this NGO, we were able to identify a number of people who were victimized by General Butt Naked and his battalion. We approached them and we talked to them, and some people said they weren't willing to meet him or have anything to do with it, and we completely respected it. And other people were actually very curious and said, I've kind of been waiting for this moment to sort of unload what I've been holding on to for so many years. So that was kind of how we approached that. Now, obviously, that particular scenario sort of automatically the people who are willing to participate are also probably people who are more likely to forgive a character like him. But that was just sort of there was kind of a give and take, and that was a decision we made because we felt most comfortable doing that in terms of, feeling right about how we're dealing with people behind the scenes and making sure that they're really comfortable and safe.